All right, today is D-Day, the invasion of Normandy. So the invasion happens in June of 1944. And just to recap from the last video, Britain and the United States had decided not to launch an attack on northwestern Europe, instead attacking in North Africa and then Italy. And that was continuing to work during this time, but it took a long time. So you have US and British troops fighting in Italy at the same time. The decision was to open up a second front, a western front, in northwestern Europe and have Britain, Canada, and the United States attack the German forces that were in France. So D-Day is the invasion of northwestern Europe. The problem here is that Germany is ready for this attack. The attack was the largest of World War II. This is kind of the Gettysburg of the war in terms of a turning point. The Allies lose a tremendous amount of soldiers, but there's a huge amount of deception that goes on in this. So you have an Allied force that is set up, as you can see on these blue lines here, that is going to attack the beach at Normandy from different directions. But before that, you had a series of attempts at confusing the German military. They had set up a fake invasion point up here at Dover with the intent to invade at Calais, which would be the shortest point across the English Channel. There were other setups north of this in Norway, and the idea was to confuse Germany and prevent them from really knowing where the U.S. was going to attack. This is pretty successful and probably makes the German resistance much less than it would have been, because Germany had been thinking that the attack was going to happen up here at Calais. But they were still ready, and the Allies lose a tremendous amount of soldiers. Ultimately, the Allies do win. They're able to push inland, and this becomes the turning point. This is the spot where the Allies in Europe begun to turn the tide and never really look back from a military perspective. The invasion was a combination of an aerial assault, you have soldiers parachuting in, and then an amphibious assault, seen here in this picture. Here's the air raid. And then you also have this huge setup, as you see here, with balloons to have weapons, I think is what they would have on them. And then the Coast Guard made this video. I'll show about a minute of this video that I found in the National Archives of the invasion of Normandy.
Normandy, the greatest invasion ever undertaken. Here, the Coast Guard manned attack transport Bayfield, served as flagship off Utah Beach. At H hour, landing craft hit the beaches, the beginning of the bloody road to Berlin.
All right, so that's just a little bit of the video footage they have from the Coast Guard that was available to show of the Normandy invasion. As I mentioned, the attack was successful, and you have this map here that shows the Allied gains in Europe. And so the areas in blue are the areas that were conquered between the Normandy invasion and then July of 1944. So you have an invasion force here that's starts off by taking control of northwestern France and then liberates all of France by July of 1944. So this takes literally several weeks to conquer the entirety of the German army in France. And then the Allies, in this sense, you have the US and Britain moving east to try to attack Germany. And then you have Russia attacking from the west, and Russia is attacking this direction. And you also have the original Allied invasion, the North Africa, Italy invasion from the south. So really all of the Allies are surrounding Germany in 1944 and the fighting will be over by the middle of 1945. Germany surrenders in May of 1945. So the invasion of Normandy becomes the turning point, becomes the critical spot where the Allies are ahead militarily and will ultimately emerge victorious. Hope that helps. Talk to you guys soon.